ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to walk you through the Walk This Way Motion Lab in case you had any troubles or if you weren't able to get all the data, or if you just got behind when we were going through how to graph the data. So first of all, I'm just going to remind you of the lab. In the lab, we did two different motions. Okay, so we had to mark off 80 meters. Okay, after we marked off 80 meters, okay, you started at the beginning. Most of us, when we were at the beginning of the 7th grade hall, we walked 80 meters out to the end of the hall, and then we walked 80 meters back. We were walking slowly on the way out and fast on the way back, and we recorded our split time every 10 meters. Okay, then for our second motion, okay, motion number 2, again, we went out and back 80 meters. This time we were staying the same pace the whole time, but we had these stopping points. We stopped for 5 seconds, we stopped for 10 seconds on our way back, we stopped for 3, and then for 15 seconds. Okay, so that was the basic process of what we were doing. Sorry, I'll present this a little bigger. That way, if you want to pause it and take a look at it a little closer, you'll be able to do that. Okay, so you can see what was going on at each of those points. Okay, so that was our Walk This Way lab activity. Those were the motions we were going through, and we recorded split times from where we started. Each 10 meters. Okay, for those stops, we recorded the time it took to get to the stop place, and then we recorded the 5 seconds. We actually timed that and hit split then, and then we started walking again, and we hit split every 10 meters after that. Okay, so that's just a review of what we were doing. Okay, again, it's described in words on our lab sheet, so if you take a look at the lab sheet, it's also explained on here. Afterwards, we recorded our data in our data table. Okay, so let me go through and show you what that data table would look like. Okay, so we recorded actually lap times here. Okay, so I'm just showing you guys the end result of what we got in terms of total time. Okay, so this was our total time on the way out to this one. And then we kept walking, we turned around and went back. Okay, and it ended up taking 96 seconds to go down and back. Okay, remember we were walking slowly on the way out and quickly on the way back. Okay, our second motion data. Oh, by the way, if you really need data, okay, you can take this total time data. We actually recorded the lap time data. Okay, so motion number 2. For motion number 2, okay, remember we went out, we stopped at the 20, we recorded that time, we started again, we got to the 30, the 40, we stopped at the 50, we stopped at the 70 on the way back, and the 10 on the way back. Okay, so then again, these are the total times. You're welcome to use those times if you got stuck, if you missed that day, whatever problem you ran into. Okay, once you have that data recorded in your data table, okay, again, reflect back on what we were actually doing, okay, and keep in mind this 80, right? We went out 80 meters and then we came back to our starting point. Okay, once you have that done, you're going to graph your data. And how you're going to go about graphing your data is in Google Sheets. You are going to select the total time and the distance columns. So I am going to click on total time. I'm going to hold the shift button and I am going to highlight all my data down to the last data point. And then I am going to hit the right arrow over so that I also get the distance column highlighted. Then I'm going to go up to the top and I am going to click on more to bring up this insert chart key. Or you could also go to under the file menu, you could also insert chart there. Okay, so I am inserting my chart. Once I have my chart inserted, it takes a second for it to load. So as it's being generated, okay, you'll see it come up, okay, once it's ready. Okay, and sometimes when it generates the chart, it does not create a line chart. That's actually what we're looking for. So if you look over here where it says chart type, okay, right now line chart is selected. If it happened to be a bar column or a column chart, you would see that. You just need to click on the chart type section, click on it, open it up, find the one that's labeled line chart, click on that, and you'll get your line. Okay. Once you're done with that, you're hitting Control C, you're copying this graph and you're pasting it into your lab. Okay, so you copy and paste it into your lab. I already have my data table copied and pasted. Okay, and then you'll see I've already copied and pasted my graph into there. Okay, then you move on to motion number 2. Before you can graph motion number 2, you have to do one key thing. Where it says 20, stop and arrival, click on that box. Get rid of the stop and arrival. So I'm just going to write over it. I'm going to write 20, 20, going to come down, 50, 50, change 70, stop and arrival to just 70, the 70 start departure to just 70. Again, I'm going to highlight my first 2 columns. So I hold the shift button down, go down to my very last data point, make sure you get all the way to the bottom. Oh, and I'm realizing that I didn't get this 10 and get rid of the words for that. If you try to graph it with the words in there, you will get a no data comment. So it will not graph it if there are words in those boxes. Okay, so again, I go back, I'm highlighting that whole column, I go over and I get the distance column. I'm going to come back up top, I'm going to hit Insert Chart, and now I have my chart inserted. Mine happens to be a line chart, but again, if you got a scatter plot, which is pretty likely, hey, you just need to select the chart type and go to a line chart. Again, you're going to Control C copy this graph, and not only are you going to copy the graph, you are also going to copy, you're also going to copy your data table. Okay, so you're copying this data table also. So again, you highlight it, Control C, or highlight it, go up to File, Copy, and then you insert it back into your lab sheet. Okay, so again, I have mine copied into my lab sheet. I've got my graph in there. Okay, and what you guys are going to do then, the last part of the lab is to analyze those graphs and answer the questions here. So I hope that helps you guys with the Walk This Way lab, and send either Mr. Hibley and I an email or a chat message if you have any questions, or come see us on Friday during our office hours from 10 to noon. Hope you guys are all doing well.